part of the whole reason we're doing this procession is to raise awareness. And we want as many people as possible to come out on Saturday morning, and we've got a lot of kids that have made flags and been given a presentation. And with the marching band, extraordinary rendition band, and what's the neighborhood. Okay. The monsters from Mashapaug Pond will be lying in wait at Liberty Elm at 10:30 in the morning, so beware. Actually, everything on our streets in a rainstorm that washes into the storm drains, that goes into our ponds. It doesn't go into the sewer system, it goes into our ponds. So anything that you pour down those drains, it's going right into where the fish and all those animals live.
And children.
And we heart Mashapaug.
Yeah, we heart Mashapaug.
I lived near, like, in the Mashapaug area for a little while, and then I went away to school.
I don't know, we're just rhyming a ton of ponds and cons, just like anything that has OND at the end of it. Band does not go at all with ponds.
She just said A&D words.
Wait, what?
Is that the one? Yeah? Okay. Awesome.
Jason was actually my mentor.
No.
But it's all from people just donating fabrics for us.
We're paying the backs of these so we can acknowledge different groups of the community that's working with us.
That's great.
So the different schools that we've been doing workshops at and all.
We worked with an after-school program where we worked with the, I gave a presentation to the teachers of the after-school, and then they worked with each of their groups, talked to them about some of the issues of the pond. On Crescent Street, a neighbor offered their front lawn, so we just set up a table, and Bethany and I came and brought our materials, and then one of the other neighbors her husband put on a fish costume and went up and down the street and kind of knocked on people's doors and said, hey, come on out, we're going to make flags for this procession. But on Crescent Street, the whole issue of the Gorham Silver Manufacturing Company is right outside their door. So they're very involved and very concerned. And then another theme was toxins in the food chain. So whenever we focused on a theme, we really tried to educate whoever was there at the workshop about that particular theme, so that there was an understanding about why these ponds are polluted and how they got that way. And then what we all can do to help heal the ponds. Nice one. They have feelings too. I like that one. Well, it seems this is the third year of the procession, and it seems more and more people are really interested.
It's great.
Oh, that's wonderful. You painted it? Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you all, and I'm going to read something to you that I have been keeping for a while. Somebody gave it to me, passed it on to me, and I wanted to share it with you. It is an article from the Providence Daily Journal, dated June 12th, 1875. The Gaspee Festival, one of June's perfect days, the Centennial Ladies' jubilant, unbounded success. Mashapaug Grove in holy day attire, immense crowds in attendance. Could a finer day have been asked for this, for the celebration of the 103rd anniversary of the burning of the British schooner Gaspee? In the evening, the grove was brilliantly lighted with Chinese lanterns and locomotive headlights, making an ever-changing scene long to be remembered. Today is Gaspee Day, but here is where it happened 135 years ago, and we are initiating a new kind of procession. And I hope that 135 years from now, there will still be celebrations in this spot. Dan up here, who is superintendent of the parks for Providence.
I am indebted to Holly for organizing this pond procession now. Is this the third year? Third year, and each year it keeps getting bigger and better. And it's grassroots activities like this which will make a difference and change our environment and will hopefully change the water quality in both the ponds here at Roger Williams Park and also Mashapaug Pond. And the ponds were an integral part of the design of Roger Williams Park. There's no other park in Rhode Island like Roger Williams Park where the landscape and the ponds are woven together to make the landscape that still exists today. Both Mashapaug and the ponds here at Roger Williams Park have been under assault from a variety of factors. Mashapaug, of course, had many factories on it for years. The Gorham factory closed over 20 years ago and dumped pollutants into the pond. And then more recently, both Mashapaug and Roger Williams have been under assault from stormwater runoff, particularly at Mashapaug from the parking lots that abut the pond. Mashapaug, of course, had many factories on it for years. The Gorham factory closed over 20 years ago and dumped pollutants into the pond. Mashapaug and Roger Williams have been under assault from stormwater runoff, particularly at Mashapaug from the parking lots. There's no one simple solution to clean up both Mashapaug Pond and the ponds here at Roger Williams Park. It's going to take a lot of slow, small steps. So there's good techniques out there. We just need to find a way to afford them and do them and undo over 100 years worth of neglect and indifference to the water quality of our ponds.
Hello, my name is Holly Ewald, and I'm a 6th grader at Sophia Academy. The flags that you'll see today show 4 different ideas about the pond. Everyone in my class chose one to work on during some art and science classes at Sophia. My flag is the present and future flag. It represents how I want Mashapaug to look like. In the present time that represents now, the black color represents toxins. I learned that right now the water is terrible and that you can get a rash if the water splashes on you. In the future side, there's blue color to represent how I want to clean it up and make it beautiful so we can paint near it. While I was meditating yesterday, I was thinking about the flags my classmate and how Mashapaug Pond and the other waters in Providence have toxins in them. I came up with the idea to start a charity in our city to raise money to take out all the bad things in the water.
We are all here not just to help save the ponds, but to help protect the environment that we share. For those of us who live in the city like me, and I actually live pretty close to here, our urban ponds and lakes help us to build a connection with nature. I value this connection to the outdoors. Thank you all once again for coming. I hope to see you here next year.
Right now I'd like to have Elizabeth Scott. Can you come up? Elizabeth is the Deputy Chief of Water Quality for the Department of Environmental Management. And Elizabeth has been a key supporter.
Bob McMahon was here earlier and he talked about how they're beginning work on Roger Williams Park ponds this summer. They've also put in a proposal to DEM to receive some grant funds to do work on Mashapaug Pond. I can guarantee that that would not have happened had you all not been involved in these processions for the last 2 years. And so your presence is really very key. As you know, these ponds are sick. They are the victims of their urban environment, and in the case of Mashapaug, the industrial legacy of Gorham. That it actually was probably the work of volunteers back in the late 1990s that brought the ponds problem to the attention of DEM. We've done studies on over 50 water bodies statewide, but we don't really have good baseline funding to do the kind of basic monitoring that needs to be done. We rely upon volunteers to monitor our lakes and ponds. And so it's incredible that the work that's been done, it really has been a volunteer-driven process from the very beginning. And so keep up the great work. You all are amazing, and spread the word on the efforts that you're doing and on simple things that people can do to keep our ponds clean. And that little blue sheet that is going around has a few key things that we all should be doing as we live our lives to try to be as pollution-free as we can be. Thanks again. Really appreciate your support.